Season 2, hosted by Lee Bishop.
Yo, yo, welcome to Mood and Not to Moods. I am your host, Lee Bishop, with my colleague and partner in crime, Harmony-Bey.
Hello, darling.
Hello, how are you?
Good evening. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. I want to say, well, not very, very well, but just take maybe two varies out of that well.
You're doing well.
One, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
No varies.
Yeah. Yeah, take the varies out. I'm doing okay.
Well, I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you're doing okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, have you, when you were younger, because I don't think you have one now, but if you did, it's okay. But when you were younger, as a young woman,
Yes.
Did you ever have like the list for your husband or your, for your boyfriend? Have you ever had the list?
I have several times.
Several. It's gone through different changes.
Definitely gone through some phases.
Changes.
Yes.
Do you remember the first one? The first
I
list?
do.
Please share.
It's kind of unfortunate though, because I'm a PK. So for people who don't know what that means, I'm a preacher's kid. So I was raised in a church. All right. And
I was going to say pumpkin killer, but go ahead.
No, I love pumpkins. I'm vegan, but I would kill a pumpkin. Definitely kill a pumpkin. But no, I started off, sort of being dictated to in Sunday school as a young girl, the type of mate I needed to look for in the future. And it was all very biblical. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it was my list entirely, because I was being coached, around it. But I do remember being asked, like, so which apostle in the Bible, or which, man basically in the Bible, who has a story where they're like the central character. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But like, would you choose, who would you want to be your husband? And I remember giving my answer and everyone like laughing at me.
Why? Because the apostle you chose was like a clown?
I mean, not a clown, but not seen as like, other people were choosing someone who
boring, and you picked you picked your short, light-skinned one?
Boring? No.
You didn't pick the short, light-skinned one?
Probably short. I don't know how light-skinned Daniel was. He was probably pretty light-skinned when I think about it. He was out in the sun. But I chose Daniel from Daniel and Goliath, or David, from David and Goliath. Uh-huh. And my Sunday school teacher, she was like, no, choose someone else. Like immediately, right after I said that I chose David, and there was more than one David. So we were trying to be like more specific, but I was like, I choose David from David and Goliath. And before I could even like explain, she was like, no, pick someone else. And I was like, no, that's really who I picked. And I was already prepared with my, we had to write a little statement about why we chose that person. And my whole thing was about bravery and protection, and, him like sticking to his guns and not being afraid and standing up for God and his beliefs. That was, so impressive to me. And I just thought that it was so ironic, that she was like totally praising my, classmate who had chose Moses.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
because Moses was like a leader.
Man.
Oh, got you. Yeah.
He's an old man,
He's
though.
As
a child, I'm thinking about somebody that sounds a little younger. Yeah, so then I was like trying to make it, so I went back to the drawing board. And then I chose Samson.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, everybody has to love Samson,
I feel like Samson would be aggressive, and maybe an abuser later on in a relationship. I'm just saying.
Possibly. He definitely got played by Delilah. That's the whole story. So he was probably going to be a womanizer had he survived.
Yeah.
He was definitely not going to be pro-woman at that point.
Yeah.
So anyway, nope, she didn't like my answer then. She was not feeling Samson. And because of the way that he died, after he told the secret about his hair to his lover, and then she clipped his hair, and it took away his strength, and he was supposed to keep that secret between him and God. So his punishment was that he pushed, down the pillars and died, got crushed underneath it, or whatever. So apparently he was not a good choice either. Although in the story of David, like, again, I don't know why they were hating on David so much, because he ended up being amazing. Like, him doing that was such a big deal, to show people that, like, even though you're small, right, God says we're big. And like the whole like thought behind the spirit being bigger and on your side. So anyway, it was just weird that they were just really hating on my answers. It's
crazy the shaming of a young woman by an adult. Like, that's, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then supporting the shaming by the kids. Like, right. What is going on in the church?
Exactly.
In your Bible classes.
Really coming for me. I'm like, why won't you just leave me alone and let me give an answer and move on to the next kid?
Yeah.
And but anyway, so she still didn't like my answer, and everybody else was giving their answers, and choosing different disciples and apostles and stuff like that. And then I was like, okay, this last one, like, I should get brownie points for this. This is a great person. Nobody can deny this. So I chose Joseph, who had the coat of many colors, I think it was, something like that. And anyway, and hopefully his name was Joseph. This is so long ago. But anyway, his whole story was that he had brothers, and they had left, to go be great. And somehow he ends up on this path to go and find them. And on his way to, he wants to go with them to do whatever they're doing, but they're jealous of him because he's favored by his dad. And then so they create this like scam to like leave him, I think, in the desert somewhere. Anyway, somehow he ends up in the hands of the wrong people. I don't know if they sell him or like just leave him there, and they end up like tricking him. And I don't know if they let him fall into a hole, a pit somewhere, but he ends up stranded basically. And he has to like figure it out, and he's like left to die. But eventually, even after his brothers treated him so badly, he becomes this amazing, king. And then his brothers like stroll into town one day, and they're the ones that are poor and in need. And although he could have totally like sent them away and told them, no, because you guys played me back in the day and left me for dead, he forgives them. And instead of, having them beheaded, I mean, he's king now, he forgives them and lets them come and eat. And then, he has them be treated like royalty and all that. So if I'm getting the story correctly, I thought that was, another great one. And I sometimes would get even as a kid, I would get the stories mixed up because, you watch the Bible stories as cartoon characters. And so they start to all look alike. I mean, they all look very European. Let me just say that. So you're not really sure unless you're actually like paying attention. So anyway, I think that was his story. And I thought that was going to be it. He's courageous, he ends up being a wonderful provider. He's forgiving, he's sensitive. He's still all about family. And that was pretty similar to the experience I was having with my own family at the time. My siblings were horrible to me. But anyway, she still didn't like that answer. And ultimately, I think what she was looking for was, like you said, somebody that was like a leader. I mean, I thought
like an alpha,
leaders in their own rights, but yeah, some type of alpha, or somebody that had a closer relationship with like Jesus when he was living, according to the biblical stories. So I don't know. I guess, they just weren't like loving it. And eventually they just like assigned me someone.
they did an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
To a biblical character.
Someone, exactly. And was like, this is the person. Most of the girls in my class chose Adam. You know what I mean? They're like, we want the beginning,
Wait, the popular guy.
Responsible for it all guy. And I thought he was boring.
Yeah.
So that's how it started for me, was like actually feeling this pressure that like I needed to look for a man that was going to emulate these characteristics and qualities of these Bible characters. And that was going to be how my list gave me, like the perfect mate. And I realized, over time that it became less about Bible characters and virtues.
Yes. And,
at some point I just, again, in that early part of my life, I just realized like, I don't even want to get married. Why am I doing this? Like, I'm sick. Leave me alone. Like, why are we even doing this? But I remember it being a conversation, about, like I said, that was so early to be talking
that's
to
crazy.
girls about how we needed to like remain virgins and, you know, wait until marriage to have sex, and how we needed to choose partners that were, you know, like I said, you know, some type of mirror image to these Bible characters, because God would be pleased with us. And yeah, my shit was all messed up.
Well, programming is best when it started early, right? Like it's kind of like language. Like
right.
if I would have learned Mandarin at 6, I would have been fluent now.
Right.
Because you know I lived at home with my mom since I was 16, so you know it would have been solidified. But you know it's all about programming at a young age, because we're sponges then. But
Yeah.
So after the biblical, you know, mind or programming for you, what was
Right.
the new list? And what age? And at what age?
And at what age? These are good questions, by the way.
Thank you.
The next time that I can think, you're welcome. The next time that I can think that I was, you know, focusing on that, because being a PK, like boys were so off limits, you know what I mean? We couldn't play with them. We were not allowed to have boy friends, you know, like play with boys at all. So I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about boys, but I want to say that the next time that it became like a topic of conversation was probably junior high. Like I can remember like legit in 7th grade, recognizing that like there were certain qualities in boys that separated them, that made them boys in this category versus boys in that category. You know, the boys that were kind of like mean to girls and always looking to like poke fun at them or humiliate them. Oh no.
Yeah, I would make fun of the girls, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine that, but I believe you. And then there were the boys that were like really sweet and somehow like understood that girls needed certain things that the other boys didn't really understand, and they like
attention
freely and openly. Well, as an adult now, I think it was that they had sisters, you know, they had girl siblings, and
I had a sister too.
They were watching, and at some point, you know, either the interactions between the dad and the sister, or there was a dad or mom saying, be nice to your sister, treat your sister like that. I mean, like a younger sister, where like you're protecting her, you're responsible to make sure that she doesn't get teased or messed around with. And so there was like this protective nature that they had towards the feminine energy already, that allowed them to just, you know, translate that to the young girls that they were in classes with. So, you know, like I said, they kind of already figured it out and knew, like, you know, just instinctually and from whatever they had been taught at home, to be nice to us, to go out of their way for us, to make us feel safe. So I did start recognizing that, like, I lean on the side of the boys that are nice. And so I would just naturally invite them into circles, conversations, let them play, you know, engage them, and intentionally, you know, so that they would know that they were wanted. And I think, you know, it didn't even matter if we had anything in common. At that time, it was really just about like, how nice are they and what are they willing to do for us? You know what I mean? And like, that was my list. Is he nice? And like, what things can he do for me that make him being nice even more awesome? You know, does he have a bike? Can he give me a ride on his bike? I remember the first time a guy let me ride on his handlebars, and I felt like such a princess. That like, this kid gave me his helmet, you know, like took it off his head, gave me his helmet, like made sure that I was safe, made sure that I was secure, and then pedaled around and, you know, in a big old circle, just so that I could enjoy that. I'm sure that you get nothing out of it as the person riding the other person around, like they're in your way, you got to look around them. But, you know, he prioritized my moment of joy and happiness over him just riding around in the circle. And that became a thing to me of like, okay, I'm going to focus on the guys that are service oriented, you know?
So let's fast forward to young adults, where you can, where your coochie is ready to get some play-by-play. What was the list? What was the list then? And was it like, you know, chronological, or, you know, one this, two this, three this, four this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, by that time.
Like, did you write a list out?
I did. By that time, I had already written out a list because I had already experienced like a woman's empowerment event. By that time, I had already been exposed to women relationship authors and coaches. And so being a psychology major and like being really interested in relationships, I was already looking for how to make sure I have the right guy, how to find Mr. Right. And that came along with lots of prompts and different material that I was reading and studying that, you know, encourage you to focus on your list.
Yeah.
So it was very much 1 through 20. These are the things on the list. And my list didn't really change much from junior high, to be honest with you. Like I've consistently looked for guys that were like super sensitive, super nice, super service oriented. I'm a Leo. So I'm all about that. Worship the ground I walk on, and I'll give you some cash. It's simple.
Was there any like?
Yeah.
Was there any no? Very simple. Was there any physical traits on that list, or was it all like?
There wasn't. Early adulthood. No.
You had 1 through 20, and there was no physical traits on that list.
No. I think at that time, I clearly remember telling myself that like. Beauty was in the eye of the beholder, and that I could make a guy who at first sight might seem unattractive to me, like without me trying, if I'm just looking at him and I'm like, oh, he's okay, if I'm not like jumping out of my underwear, even though he may not be like jumping out of my underwear attractive to me, I could make him that by teaching him to do those things on my list that suddenly like make my underwear disappear.
Where did the
actual acts of service and things that he did for me outside of the bedroom made him look like the sexiest guy on the planet.
Where'd this come from? How'd you develop this?
That was internal.
You got it from somewhere though. Like, how did this develop? How is it that you, as a young adult, as a young woman, is thinking that way when other women your age are probably like, oh, have to have abs, basketball player looking height, all this stuff, you know?
I didn't have
fade, cornrows.
That's probably the difference. I did not have friends.
Oh, you didn't have friends your age. Okay.
All of my friends were at least 10 years older than me.
Okay.
And they were mainly people who were my coworkers. So I worked in early childhood education, preschool. So they were like older women. They were in their 30s and 40s, married with husbands that I didn't find attractive or think like, you know, when I look at them, I'm like, how did you guys hook up? You know, I saw a lot of that, but I also saw the husbands who stood out to me that I paid attention to were the ones who would bring them lunch or send them flowers or do something romantic like to keep them, you know, like really.
Well, they're in love. Show their love. They're genuinely in love.
I was constantly around older women who were already married and their husbands had already surpassed that dad bod and never sort of went back.
Yeah.
And, and so had they, you know?
Yeah.
So I just wasn't around a younger population that was so focused on the physicality of someone.
Amazing.
You know, that wasn't it. I was constantly around parents, people who were new parents, and they were not like the most fit people. Those were my influences at that time. It changed later though, ironically, after I had my daughter and I had been married and I had been, you know, in a committed relationship and I had, you know, tried marriage and all that.
Yeah.
Being newly divorced, my list was like wildly different. It probably at that point more so symbolized a very insecure, very shallow, like 25-year-old.
Yeah, what were the shallow parts?
It was all about money. It was all about looks. It was all about materialism. Like, what can you do for me? And not just the service stuff, because that to me, it didn't equal money. So now the focus was financial. It was like, do you have the things that represent value, you know, financial value? Do you have a house? Do you have a car? Do you have a good job? You know, do you work out and look good? You know, do you have money?
you have another mouth to feed too, right? Are you thinking about that too, or are you thinking it selfishly?
No, it was selfish. My ex at that time was paying child support and all that. So I didn't need for anything for my daughter. It was for me. Like, I felt like, okay, I totally wasted my time with this other guy, you know what I mean? And gave him 5 years of my life.
Yeah.
Let me get that back.
Yeah.
And instead of playing the like sweet, innocent housewife, good mom, good wife position at 20 years old, you know, now I was like ready to fuck some shit up. You know what I mean? Like, forget the good girl act. How do I get the bad boy who I can have a good time with? I'm looking for a lot of stimulation at this point. Yeah. Because I'm feeling understimulated. And so the overstimulation came from like risk, came from like, you know, like I said, just that bad boy energy. It fulfilled something within me at that point in my life. And I was much more interested in materialism and like how things appeared, how they looked on the outside. Even if the guy was shitty, he, you know, wasn't really nice to me or respectful even, and whatever, like I would still entertain him being a DJ, for example, or being, you know, the captain of a motorcycle club, or, you know, being a poet or whatever it was that like put him in the spotlight and made him desirable to others. Now I'm basing, well, I want the guy that everybody wants.
You think it's healthy for a woman to have like a body count like that? Like, do you think, well, you know, we do judge you, but for a woman, in a woman's perspective, do you think it's healthy to have not just different partners for partner's sake, but like for experience, or just, you know, like guys do, like, you know, dating different guys to just, you know, indulge with them, experiencing them, and then kind of move on? Because I don't think you took half of those guys, probably 90% of those guys, seriously.
Right.
You were sowing your wild oats. You were having fun, and you have fun. You know, you had your orgasms. Right. You know what I mean? Right. You got to, you know, rub on some abs. You know, but then, you know, you eventually grow out of it, just like men do eventually. Hopefully, you know, we call it playa mode. But being a woman in a male run society, dominated society, do you think as a woman that is healthy or helpful or destructive? Was that a lot?
No, that was a great question. I think it depends on the woman, to be honest with you, because a lot of what I experienced was so opposite of what my norm was and what I was used to and familiar with, that it pulled me way out of my comfort zone, and it was difficult to get myself back from that. I had to fight really hard and be intentional, you know, in terms of like finding my center, grounding myself, and like coming back down off of this, you know, crazy high I was on in that space and time in my life. For other women, though, they grow up in an environment like that, you know, where they're exposed to a lot of romantic relationships from an early age, whether it be their parents or, you know, of different adults around them. If they're allowed to watch a lot of media that's very adult oriented and has a lot of intimate relationships in it, then for them, you know, they're just seeking what they saw. They're just trying to match it and make it make sense. And it's not really their own mind that they're even using. They're just going off of strictly programming. So for them, it may not be the same as it was for me, because a lot of things for me were like shock, you know, factors, you know, wow factors, you know, because I hadn't seen it. For somebody who had seen it already, they probably wouldn't have been as impressed, you know, for half the stuff that I was impressed about. So they may have been able to navigate that world a lot better than me because of that exposure. And then in terms of their, you know, body count, you know, my body count has like been super low for a long time. Like, that's just how it is. I'm just not interested in jumping around onto a bunch of people's bodies, but I do recognize that it can be a benefit or hindrance, again, depending on the woman. If she is terrible in bed, sometimes it's because she doesn't have enough bodies, you know what I mean? Or that the people that she's been with have been boring, or that they weren't honest with her. Yeah, they were both lying and faking it. So I mean, I, as a relationship coach, I see that a lot, and I hear women specifically talk about that, and men not so much. They're not the ones that are faking it, and you know what I mean, are trying to appease women, like, oh girl, that was so great. If it wasn't, like, they may not say anything to you, but they're not going to fake it, and they're certainly going to seek what they are truly desiring outside of that. If they're not going to voice it, and they're going to allow you to perform and underperform, you know, oftentimes they'll just seek whatever they're looking for outside of you. So again, it just depends on the woman. If she, in my situation, doesn't have a high body count, but has found compatible partners, it doesn't matter. I could have had 3 partners in my whole life. If we were compatible and we made that thing shake, listen, that's all that, you know what I mean? That's all that matters.
How do you feel about women lying to their, like, not even boyfriend, like potential boyfriend, like they've dated, they're vibing. She's not gonna tell him that she's had 20 or even 10, bodies. You know what I mean? Right. Like she's gonna be like, oh, 3, 5, And
right.
even we might still think that's too high. We might be like, what, 3? But anyway, right. You had 1. What? Anyway, so how do you feel about like women doing that? Do you think they should like cut that shit out, just be honest, or keep lying and keep it safe? Because I think they should lie, because guys, as we are very flawed, we are very insecure. It would just, for our peace of mind,
right?
And it was probably during their 20s. If we're I'm in my 40s. Let's say I'm dating a girl and I'm insecure, which I'm not. But because I don't give a shit. I know my dick game. If she tells me, like my body count is 10, 20, I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, but I forgot where I was going with this.
The reason why you think that women should lie still is because guys.
Oh, yes. If I'm insecure and she tells me, it's 3, I'm like, cool. Like, cause I'm not thinking about the other goddamn 10 or 20. I just have 3 as a competition. Now I'm like, okay, I have to be better than those 3. I have my dick game has to be so good that she's going to forget about those 3 dudes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put it on her. I'm going to do the key sweat. I'm going to whine, you know what I'm saying? Hey. And then I'm going to get in there, you know what I'm saying? And do my thing. And then I'll have a better peace of mind. If I had to think about 10, 20 porno style star, numbers, I'm gonna be insecure with my dick game, even if I do have like a 9-incher. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I'm still gonna be like, I don't know. I'm putting in damage because there's been, guys be thinking, there's so many dicks in there, like you're not gonna feel me, kind of thing. Right. So it's like I advise women to lie. It's an innocent lie. What do you call it? It's a white lie. Just for our sake, because people worry about like, if they find out, how are they going to find out? Do you still keep in contact with those 10? Probably not. Most of them probably
know.
Most of them are probably like in college or like one night stands. I mean, and if you like go to another city, it's even cooler. You're like starting over anyway, so you can, I advise to lie. Wow,
blasphemy.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I think
please.
if you're really going to seek an authentic relationship with someone, lying is not okay. Even if it's
if you want authentic,
small, right? Even if it's something small like body count, because to be honest, body count matters to a lot of people.
Body count matters.
It matters, yes. And
on the t-shirt.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people would feel crushed knowing that they opened themselves up and allowed themselves to engage in a romantic relationship, fall in love, take someone seriously, who had such a high body count, if their intention was to not do that, if they didn't want to be in that situation, just to find out, because that's usually what happens, later, that the body count was higher, and they'd be like, oh, why'd you lie to me? And I just didn't want you to, no, you're taking away someone's choice though. If they want to reject you because your body count is 10 or 20, they have a right to do that. And you should not want to be with somebody who's going to feel that way about you. You should want to be able to be like, 25. What?
Yeah.
You know, and for them to not flinch. Like, if you can't be your whole full self, which is, you know, you having your truths and being able to speak them without feeling judged or whatever, like, then are you really able to have a true, authentic relationship with this person? You know, I think it's important to be able to tell them the truth and to still be accepted. So what I actually, you know, encourage couples to do is to just lay it all on the line. Say all the things. And I even get to a point where I tell them to say all the things that they think are the most undesirable about them.
I totally agree with that. But I do also believe, because I've seen it, that it might not be healthy because of the lie. But like, I've seen couples thrive without each other knowing each other's secret. And they, you know, they got kids, they got a home. I mean, they're doing fine. I mean, you know, maybe down the line when they turn 60 or 70 on their deathbed, you know, due to COVID or something, and then they're like, you know, Harmony, I have to tell you.
Right.
I've murdered 10 children when I was 19 on purpose.
Oh,
I did it on purpose. I'm a serial killer. I love you.
Right. Oh my God.
She's just like, or you're like
frozen. What do we do with that? He's dead already.
Yeah, but I've heard. I mean, it's possible, but yes, if you want an authentic, healthy relationship, yes, do not lie. You know, if your body count, STD, murderer, jail time, just, I mean, yeah, sure, lay it on the line. I mean, I think with us as humans, like, we have to accept our partner for, I guess, the flaws that we think that are flaws. You know, or society deems flaws. And I think me, as I got older, like I had is it called stipulations or like regulations on women or whatever, but now I just don't. Now I don't care. Like, if she had AIDS, or if she lived with her mom, or if she used to had, you know, been in prison or something, like, as long as her now is somebody I can accept and have fun with, and, you know, do things with, and do nasty things with, and everything like that, then it doesn't matter, because I'm nasty. She's got to be nasty, or she got to be accepting. But so I would be more accepting, I guess. Yeah. Right. Yeah. As before, as a young man, I'd be like, yeah, she got AIDS, I'm not fucking with her, or whatever. Now I don't care. I don't care what she has, you know, as long as she's fine, she's fit, and she's funny. The 3 Fs.
3 Fs.
You know, fine, fit, and funny.
Hey.
You know, I like women who like to laugh. Like, I like to laugh. I like to make them laugh. I like to make Harmony laugh. I like to make my mom laugh. Yeah. Making my mom laugh is the best. So it's like, if she can't, you know, she's serious, and, you know, nowadays you got the boss bitches and shit. You know what I'm saying? They're not fun at all. Yeah. Except the one I'm talking to right now. Hey. But so I just feel like not a lot of guys are like me, so I just say that to be safe. But yes, maybe, you know, take a chance, you know, I guess.
I mean, I hear you, because obviously no one likes rejection, right? So like,
especially if you put so much time into each other, and then one thing, he's like, nah, I can't. You got 10? Oh, I can't do it. But we've been here, and we did this, and I met your parents, you met my parents, blah, 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 all this stuff. We want to name our kid the same name, Richard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really Richie. You know what I'm saying? But just because I told you the truth, I have 10, like, you're like, nah, like, you know what I mean? Like, guys will do that because we are so insecure. We could be 6 foot, big, whatever, well endowed, you know what I'm saying, got abs, got, you know, 3 chests, right, you know what I'm saying, and we'll still be out, right, you know what I mean? I
mean, I believe in free will, so in that scenario, I would let that young lady know that that person has free will and that they are not obligated to you. You don't own them. Just because you did all those wonderful things, that does not guarantee that this person's going to spend the rest of their life with you or make any type of commitment to you. You're both coming together freely. No one is being forced. And so that free will has to exist throughout the entire experience. There are certain ramifications once people start getting married and signing legal paperwork and stuff like that. But even with that can be undone, or that can, you can be divorced. So the reality
happens all the time.
Yeah. The reality is that you can't control how another person is going to react or respond to whatever information you're sharing with them. But specifically body count, if that's something you guys never discussed before and it came up randomly, you've been in this relationship for 2 years, the person's already, proposed, this is your fiance, and you guys happen to be having some conversation over dinner and it comes up because some buff guy is your waiter and, oh, hey, Jennifer, and you knew him and you're like, oh, I don't remember you mentioning, what does his name tag say? Todd. I don't remember you mentioning Todd as one of your exes. And then now you're, discussing, oh, well, he wasn't an ex. He was just some guy I knew. Oh, okay, how'd you know him? Like, now that it's going to come up, if the insecurity that exists within that man is that strong, it would have come out prior to that day. So she would have already known this is an insecure person. However, let's just say somehow he was able to keep it all together, believing that she was a perfect angel and that she knew all the wonderful, lovely tricks that she knew in bed because she just watched a video. That's how she found out, that she had no actual practice, that you're the first person that she got all nasty with. Like, if you really want to believe all of that, and then the reality comes hitting you in the face of like, no, actually, your sweet, innocent Jennifer was with Todd for 3 years, or met him 3 years ago, and they have this real, crazy porno experience.
Yes.
Like, if he's willing to walk away from her because of that,
I would be her Todd, by the way.
Did not he did not value her enough to be her future partner, you know what I mean? So I'm still okay with the natural consequence of somebody getting in their feelings and be like, nah, forget you, girl, and leaving her at dinner and not paying, okay, go. Todd will come sit down with her, you know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Let's bring that old thing back. Yeah.
Right. He lost out, and there's always a fear of rejection, and it could even happen beyond that. I mean, that's typically what happens with divorce, right? Somebody does something and the other person decides, you know what, I can't do this with you anymore. Yeah. And they reject you. They decide, they make a different choice for their lives. You could have tried hiding all the things that you could from them, but eventually something will come to the surface that challenges how much a commitment you guys have made to each other. And if that's the one that's going to happen from the beginning, you're actually saving yourself a whole lot of heartbreak. Yeah.
It's just amazing to me. I think I'm impressed with myself to be like, well, I am aware I'm not going to be her first, unless I was her first, unless she was a virgin, obviously. But I know I'm not going to be her first. I'm not going to be her first nasty. I'm not going to be her first whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just have to understand that we're all men, we're all different, and the way you want her to give you oral is different. She has to learn a new person, so that's where you got her. You teach her how you like to be pleased, and then maybe she didn't eat the groceries with the last one, and maybe she'll eat the groceries with you, you know what I'm saying? Right. You could develop new experiences with that. So I guess I'm just amazed because I have all these like physical, I guess, traits that are negative towards me, but I'm more tolerant. You know what I mean? Because I'm more secure with my pee-pee than, the average size dude who will probably have no problem, finding somebody or, pretty good on dating sites or pretty good, in social circles and stuff, where I'm just like, my chances are less than the average guy, you know what I mean? And I don't care about her body count because I know about the vagina and I know about life and the experiences and stuff. And when I hear dudes say that, it is mostly like maybe like late 20s and 30s and stuff like that. And then, I went down the rabbit hole of the, red pill and MGTOW and stuff like that. And a lot of, in the manosphere, and a lot of people and a lot of men in the manosphere preach the body count is a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? And women who have a high body count they carry that into the relationship, for some reason, and that's not true, and they're like preaching, women are a monolith, and they all do this, and they're all hoes, and they're gonna have body counts, just pumper and dumper, and all this stuff, and yada yada yada. And I'm sitting here saying that's not true, but I'm also a 40-year-old man. Like, right. These guys are 40, 30, talking to 20, possibly high school kids who probably don't either never had talked to a girl or been burned by one and is in a red pill rage. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's I don't know. I kind of want to like combat that as a medium. You know what I'm saying? Because women aren't a monolith. Body count doesn't really matter. I mean, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Right. Porn stars are getting married, having babies. Explain that to me. Explain that guy. Why is he so secure with his sexuality and his masculinity, and you're not? Like, why does it matter to you how many bodies? And then like you don't even have to know. You know what's funny? I asked the one time I asked, right? And inside I was like, I don't want to ask, but I'm curious. So I asked her, did she have sex with some guy? Because I was dating this girl. She was in the military. She had to leave to do whatever real quick. I forgot what like an RDO or a TEO or whatever the crap.
Yeah.
She had to go somewhere, but she'd be back. But we stopped dating, and then she said she met somebody at her base. And I was like, okay, whatever. Acting like I didn't care, but I cared. And then
of course.
Yeah. And then I asked about the penis. I asked her about, was he bigger? Was he, you know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. And she tells me whatever, he was thicker. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't really want to know.
Right.
But I was so angry inside, and I was like, being very, I don't know if it's the words astute, but stern. I was being stern, like a robot, was the penis side? Oh, really? Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Well, you know what I mean? Like trying to not to show emotion, trying to be a man. And it broke my heart, but like I didn't have to know that. You know what I mean? It was, and then I was like, then the main question is, was he better than me?
Right.
And she said, well, he does things that you don't, and he does, and you do things that he doesn't. And I was like, okay. Like that's a good answer.
That's a good answer.
That's a good answer. She could have been lying, but you know what I'm saying? She, and this is us being in our 20s, so I give her kudos for that. Right. But as I look back on that, I'm like so young, so dumb. It's like she's a very beautiful woman. Of course, somebody's gonna pop at her, and she's gonna feel lonely. We're not together. Right. I don't know. I forgot how long she was there. Like she's gonna go pop, because I definitely pop. I popped a few. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's James Brown says it's a man's world, but it's also a woman is gonna live in it as well, and she's gonna do her thing.
Right.
And back then I couldn't understand that, but now I do. And I just want to, say that body count doesn't matter. Like her coochie's not going to be a manhole. The size of, what I mean? Like it retracts. It's going to be fine. It's just it's so funny. It's just funny to me. But
I've definitely heard guys bring it up. I've heard women bring it up when I work with individuals who are looking for love, and they are putting together their list, kind of how we started the conversation. Like now I help people do that.
You help people make a list?
Yeah, I just don't batter them over the head when they, put stuff on it. Like,
okay. So you have them have a list, and then you go over the list and see if it's ridiculous or not. Okay,
correct.
Okay,
correct. How realistic is it?
Yes. Okay, that's so cool.
Yeah. So in doing so, I mean, I've definitely heard guys say, "Oh yeah, she cannot have a high body count," and I've heard women say, "Oh yeah, he can't have a high body count." And
I didn't know
them to describe what does that mean to them.
Yes.
And what is the reason why that exists, and how is that showing up for them? Is that showing up as an insecurity? Is that showing up as a health concern? Like, what is it showing up as really? Because if it's a health concern, you should be getting tested anyway.
Anyway,
you have a new partner.
Right.
You know, so that
shouldn't matter.
Take care of that. Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing that I've heard people say is when you're from a small town, obviously it's more likely that you've been with somebody the person knows. Yeah. And so that's more of that can still be kind of insecurity, but there's some truth to that. Like I actually have a personal rule that I won't date somebody who is in a specific circle. Like I'm going to find somebody, and I even tell this to my clients, especially the ones who are having a hard time finding new relationships, new love, is to leave your core circle, the friends you have in the area that you have them in, the places where you guys hang out and go all the time, go way outside of that. So for example, one of my clients in Sacramento, I told him, go to another neighboring town, something that's like an hour away. So there's enough distance where you can still go see each other. But that you feel like you have completely left this sphere of people and energy that's created around you, so that you're not dating the same people your homie dated a year ago and somebody else dated a year before that, like that does have its level of discomfort and awkwardness. And I personally do not date anyone that has dated other people in my circle. I just don't. So I always say, if you're in Sacramento, date people from the Bay Area. If you're from the Bay Area, date people from Modesto or, Stockton. Yeah. Like, just go ahead and move it around, because it will also save you the drama of running into people's ex's ex. And that's so annoying to me. Even if I'm in an environment where none of my core friends have dated the same person, if I start dating someone and now we're a part of a particular social group, and now that person's ex is in that social group, whether they work somewhere or they're part of a particular, social environment where now we have to see them in order for us to go into specific places, where it's a comedy club or to a restaurant or to a poetry event, like whatever. If I'm now going to have to see your ex or interact with that person in any way, it's mad uncomfortable.
It is. Yeah, it is.
So, that's why I say, like, moving around and, making it very difficult for you to be able to, meet someone who everybody that knows, or even if that person does have a high body count and they were pretty crazy back in the day, like they might be a totally calm person now, but you dating them 10 years, from that time, now 10 years in the future, 10 years ago, if they slept with everybody, in the neighborhood, you know what I mean? Like, it does affect you psychologically. So I always tap into, what is your concern about the body count? Is it realistic? And then I always talk about the benefits.
Yeah. To kind of switch it, like the best relationships I hear, probably because of my stature, is when women say, my husband or my boyfriend is somebody I would never have thought I would have gotten with, because they have the list and everything, all the physical traits on the list resemble a Morris Chestnut or a Dwayne The Rock. It's never a Kevin Hart or a Lil Rel or a Lee Bishop. It's always somebody huge, you know what I'm saying? And like this particular one I'm thinking about now is like this. It's a couple who's on YouTube and TikTok, and they're married, and she's openly said that, she would never have thought she would be with a person like this, because he's short, he has no muscles, he he has a dad bod without being a dad, you know what I mean? But he makes her laugh, they have fun together.
Right.
And then, like, on the videos, I read the comments, and so I won't say so many, but maybe 2 or 3 women will say the same thing. They're like, yeah, I never thought I'd be with my husband, but he's just so fun. He's so funny. He loves me. Blah blah blah. But he's physically not my type. Right. And I'm wondering, how do we? Not this in an agenda or anything, but how do we get other women there? Because those women used to be that woman who was, who was like, he's got to be Chris Helmsworth, or, that's a white boy, or, whatever, you know what I mean? Or again, like Morris Chestnut, or, Tate Diggs, or Tyrese or something, you know what I'm saying? And
right.
And like, how do we get women, I guess, more open? You know what I'm saying? Because I went into a rabbit hole of like, I've been kind of disenfranchised lately to where like, I'm not gonna date anymore because women want this, whatever, and I'm down here, and but I looked at the stats and only 49% want, you know, the tall guy. You know what I'm saying? That's literally half of the female population of the state. So you know, so I shouldn't be thinking this way. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, my track record, I did pretty damn good. But now that I've slowed down or whatever, like I just lost the will to even try dating. You know what I'm saying? And but yeah, how will we get women open? I mean, is that a thing a life coach can do, or is that a thing like a man can do? Because if you hear the stories, it's always they got them there, like they spent time with them in some different non-romantic way. Like this particular couple, they did a music video together. You know, they did creative stuff, and he liked her, and she wasn't so sure, you know what I mean? And, you know, but there's always the fact is, there's always a thing, especially with younger women, of FOMO, you know, fear of missing out. And, you know, why would they fuck with me if they could, you know, fuck with someone else who's like got money, wears Yeezys every day, new Yeezys every day, you know, drives a Tesla and is 6'1", you know what I'm saying? And I live in Los Angeles, so, you know, that's almost everywhere. You know? So, like, I don't know if there's a way to do it except for just spending time. Like if I'm on a movie set and I'm working as a grip, and somebody, a female is a grip, we have to talk every day. Maybe I win her over that way. You know what I mean? Or if I'm at work, there's somebody at work who has that list, that physical trait list, and then I see her every day because we're 8 hours a day every day together. I win her over with my personality and my just natural being, and then she might romantically see me romantically later on. But it's like you have to take work, you know, put in work. How do we get women to like just be like that, just be open from the get? You know what I'm saying? Or is that possible? Do you have to win her over? Because most of the women, I'll say maybe 40% of the women I dated, I had to win them over because we were in college and I had time, and, you know, maybe we had a class together, you know, and they like the way I dress, and then, you know, we're talking, I'm making them laugh, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm working it naturally, not even like intentionally. Like I'm just being myself, you know what I'm saying? So what if I'm on a date, you know, or a dating app or a blind date, you know what I'm saying? Like already off the rip, she's going to see me walking in or whatever, or I got to get up and, you know, hug her, and she like, nigga 5'5",
right?
You know what I mean? I'm 5'7", you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, because I don't care. I don't want to get with a short guy because I want to wear heels. Girl, wear your heels. Right. You make me look good. I look like Cat Williams. You know what I'm saying? I'm secure with my height. Do I wish I was this height? No, nobody wishes to be Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart don't want to be Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart want to be Dwayne Johnson. In height, we all want to be Jason Momoa. Right? Why would we not want to look like Jason Momoa? But no, we stuck in this body, so we got to work with what we got. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know that was long. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. I mean,
that's a good rant.
I'm able to keep up, so we're good. You know, I think to answer the first part of your question about how, you know, is there a way to get women there? Can we get them there? Should we be getting them there to a place where they're more open? I think in society, there are so many standards and things that women are utilizing as a guide or some type of, information to dictate to them what they should be looking for. And that's where it starts, unfortunately. You know, we are exposed to the ideologies that exist in the world about how we should be choosing men. And we're constantly force-fed advertisements and stuff like that with the tall guy with the muscles. You know what I mean? So I think a part of it is that society
movies too. Movies too.
Of course, yeah. I don't think that society is ready to fully step away from its toxic, ideology about beauty and sexiness and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen so many campaigns in the last 5 years that are trying to get into this space of like not body shaming and everybody's beautiful and sexy in their own way and there's someone for everyone, blase, but the majority commercial wise. The majority is still tall guy with muscles. So with that being said, I actually don't think that it's that bad that there are a group of women who see life that way, because they will have an opportunity to outgrow that, in their own maturity and whatever happens in their life. But I also think that it sort of positions men to then look outside the box too. You want a woman who's open-minded. You want a woman who will naturally accept you at your height and stature and with whatever package you come with. And you don't want to have to win them over. You know what I mean? That should not be, like a part of what you just expect to happen. Like if the winning over happens naturally, like you said,
yes.
you're just being yourself and they happen to love that, great. But there is always going to be a level of competitiveness. There's always going to be a level of work that goes into, capturing someone's attention and getting close to them and being that person. And I've had 2 experiences like the ones that you mentioned. I worked on a project with someone. He was definitely not my type. And, within a couple of months, I started seeing him in a romantic capacity.
Why?
Same thing with the guy that I worked with. For the
stay there. Okay.
Like you said, his personality,
yes.
being around him all the time, seeing the little quirks. And then also they were giving me romantic signs. So it wasn't just like we're just hanging out and then we bumped into each other and kissed. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's like real, all right, we're working on something together. With the guy that I was working on a project with, this was back, this is so funny. This was back during Occupy Sacramento. You remember that?
I do, yeah.
So I was like a part of this Occupy Sacramento thing. And so we were meeting every day, you know what I mean, for hours, sitting on the Capitol and doing all these crazy things, going to all these businesses and stuff. So anyway, as a part of that campaign, I'm around this person. We're constantly talking about, the environment and policies and, trying to make Sacramento better and just all these different things. And so you're seeing what people are passionate about. And to me, woman A, that's something that's attractive to me. So your looks alone are not just the only thing that can be attractive. There are levels of attraction. And in terms of like non-physical, that's one of them. So I think a lot of times what happens is that the other characteristics or traits that can be attractive outside of looks, they start to add up in that category, So the side of looks and muscles and all that stuff, that's its own category. But there are other ways for a woman to be attracted to you. And so even if there aren't any check boxes in the looks category, you can still, quote unquote, win her over by, adding points in another section. So anyway, he was just really passionate about the work that we were doing. And then I remember we ended up, learning about another project that was happening to get rid of plastic bags. And that just became like this whole thing where we were like in front of grocery stores, we're talking to people. And we just naturally were like, oh yeah, this next project, the grocery bag one, oh yeah, we're definitely doing that together. Like it just was like we preferred each other at that point. We had tons of people around us, but based off of our connection and conversations that we were having, finding out that we had certain things in common, there was just this organic, increased, time together and interest in one another. We were both single, sort of open books. And that was helpful, but I was also not looking for a partner. He was not looking for a partner. So in terms of where your mind is at, if you're just an open person, period, it will allow for you to have experiences like that, as opposed to someone who is like, I'm looking for a husband. Well, now, because of your hyper focus, you're going to be going off of that list. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like going into the grocery store, knowing already what you're going to make for dinner. You're looking for the spaghetti sauce, the noodles, you know what I mean? The tomatoes, like you have a specific idea in mind. But if you go into the grocery store, like, let me just see what stands out to me. Let me just see, you know what I mean? Based on whatever it might be, great advertising, samples, you know what I mean? Like whatever happens that day that affects your decision, it's happening organically. And so now you're going to investigate that. And in that investigating, you may find that, wow, I had this little sample of this enchilada thing. And now I have a little list that tells me what things are on that to make enchiladas. Maybe enchiladas is not even on my radar, but now that I've had a taste and I like it, let me look further into this. What was in here that I liked so much because it's even surprising to me? especially because this is not typically what I would be choosing for dinner. You know, that's kind of how it was with him, was like, I would have never, you know, openly or directly addressed this guy or tried to date him or anything. So timing, you know, and like I said, just the organic nature of everything was great. Then to the guy that I worked with, he was just always there. He was always there, and he always stared at me, and he was so quiet, and we never spoke. He was like so shy. It was awkward. And I just kind of ignored him at first. And then I'll never forget, we had the stupid Secret Santa thing. Oh my God. He would have said that it saved his life, and it was amazing because it's how we ended up like actually getting together, because it opened the door for that communication. But I just thought it was the most horrible and stupid thing ever. I'm like, Secret Santa, you guys, really? This is corporate America. Do we have to do this? You know what I mean?
Yes, you do.
Right, exactly. They're like, that's what you're signing up for. We're going to do all the holidays. So anyway, he rigged the Secret Santa game so that he could get me. And that was
I like it.
That was charming. I don't know why that was a thing for me. I was like really, you know, somehow impressed by that. He took that little bit of effort. I mean, that's not even anything big, obviously. It's not like he robbed a bank for me, but it was enough for me to be like, wow, okay, he really wanted to be the person to give me a gift. And then the gift that he gave me was totally unrelated to Christmas whatsoever. It was based off of something that I actually needed. Because he had been like paying attention and listening. Yeah,
I was gonna say that.
You know what I mean? So then it was like, well, how did he know that I needed this? He must have overheard a conversation, meaning that he was actually eavesdropping, which is awkward as heck.
Oh, that is kind of creepy. Yeah,
it is rude to do that, but it benefited him in that moment for him to know that I needed that, and it was so cute, you know, because I needed new window wipers. So I get this gift of these brand new window wipers with this little note that says that he'll put them on for me. So like after work, he walked me out to my car. Yeah. Put on the freaking window wipers, you know, the correct way and everything. And then we struck up a conversation, you know, standing in front of my car, this like shy guy that usually just awkwardly stares at me, and that everybody's like, oh my God, I think Dennis likes you. But I just would ignore him because he was like overly awkward and shy. But now, you know, we're standing there. Okay. You know, thank you, Dennis.
Yeah. So how long do these relationships last?
I dated Dennis for 3 years. And with the guy from Occupy Sacramento was a year, because then he ended up going to Yuba City for another thing, and that made the too much distance between us. Yeah.
Okay. That's so you know, I guess guys just shoot your shot. You know, you never know, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, but if you like shoot your shot at a woman who looks like the Kardashians or something, you probably off the rip already know she don't want you. Like, go for girls like who are in your circle or something, in your wheelhouse or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know if I would say that. As a relationship coach, I always tell people, go for the person you don't think would go for you.
Really? Like, so if I'm a Comic-Con dude,
you should go for it, because there's way too many situations where that person is actually like over the average type of guy that people think that they're into, or the type of girl that somebody thinks a guy is into. Maybe he's had enough of that and he's actually looking for somebody more wholesome or something outside of what his norm is, or she's looking for somebody that, you know, has a different approach. Like, now here comes you. But if you're confident, you should be able to shoot your shot at whoever you truly want to invest your time and energy in.
But if you're like a nerdy good, let's say that you're like your boy Dennis, right? If Dennis sees a chick like you know, like a Kim Kardashian,
sure,
like kind of girl, she got a Birkin on, she's wearing Gucci, she got Balenciaga shoes on. Dennis is like grandpa cardigan, glasses, you know. So I mean, he's kept. Right. He's clean. He washes his butt, washes his armpits. You know what I'm saying? He uses different towels for his face and his butthole. You know, he's saying he's clean. You know what I'm saying? It's just he wears chinos. You know what I mean?
Right.
He has loafers on. So you're telling him to still talk to Birkenback?
Yes. Abso-freaking
wow. Okay. To learn how to be to learn how to be rejected.
No, because like I said,
You think Birkin bag is gonna be like, wow, I like his cardigan, grandpa cardigan. Like, let me give this a try.
She might actually say like, oh, that's really cute.
Okay,
She might
that's fair.
She might want to role play, you know.
That's fair. You know, Dennis ain't got Birkin bag money though. Dennis ain't gonna buy her another Birkin bag. I mean, that's the only Birkin bag she's gonna get.
He may not have it, you know, at the time that she meets him, but if she's an asset, right, then she's gonna put him on.
Maybe he don't want to be put on. He just wants to go to Comic-Con.
Maybe, but if they enjoy Comic-Con together and she has her own money, you know, she don't need his money. Maybe she just wants a genuine guy to go to Comic-Con with. Because what do you get somebody that has everything?
This D.
I'm just saying, you know, like
she ain't got the D.
Other ways to win over a woman.
She got everything but the D.
You know, sometimes I mean, I've seen those couples. You know,
I've seen them too. Yeah,
type in the most unlikely couples, and you see them, and you're like, who is this guy? Where did he come from? How did he get hurt? Or vice versa. It's usually because we are putting on that person. We're projecting from what society teaches us that this person, just because they have the Birkin bag and all that stuff, that they must be shallow. They must be looking for, you know, we're brainwashed ourselves. So we're not even seeing them as complete and total, you know, human beings who have minds of their own, who can make a decision about who they want to be with and how they want to, you know, be in a relationship. Case in point, one example, one of my guys just recently shared with me the type of relationship he's in right now. He was like, man, I just met LaFonda. He's this white guy. He's like, man, I just met LaFonda. And for people who don't know who LaFonda is, it's from Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh no!
So
Wow.
LaFonda is the chocolate chick, you know.
Like same size too, like or.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
okay, keep going. Keep going.
And I'm like, really?
Wow.
I
love it.
That's really great, Mitch. I'm so excited for you.
So polar opposite.
And I'm like, you know, tell me more about that.
Yeah, tell me more. Yeah.
He's like living it up. He's loving. He's in Florida with LaFonda, and they're having a great time.
Hilarious.
And he said to me initially, like, I never thought, you know, that you know I'd ever get with a chocolate
Those
woman.
are the best. Those are the best.
Thing. And they were both at Burning Man, and he was like, "What is this chocolate Amazonian woman doing at Burning Man? This is so incredible. I gotta go talk to her."
That's hilarious.
Talking to her, they were totally into some of the same things, music-wise. You know, they had a great night together, exchanged phone numbers, and, you know, she told him if he came back to Florida, she'd love to, you know, grab drinks or something. So he took like, you know, 3 or 4 days before he was like, forget it, I'm going back to Florida. Got an Airbnb, you know, hit her up and said, you know, I'd like to take you to dinner. Where do you want to go? She picked a place. You know, he showed up there, you know, the whole nerdy, you know, vibe, flowers, chocolate.
Is he skinny dude?
He's a skinny dude.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
And he said that they had a great time. They didn't want to separate from each other. They ended up not going to sleep at all. They stayed up all night, you know, out on the town, came, you know, it was like 8:00 in the morning the next day. And then they decided to just keep going. They had breakfast, you know, they hadn't had any sleep, and they just really enjoyed each other, didn't want to leave, but he had to take his flight back, you know, so, you know, they had to part ways, you know, so he was like going off of absolutely no sleep, 2 days being with this woman, but it was like on this high of his life. And when he got back, it all came crashing down because he was like, this is not going to work. You know what I mean? Like, does she really want to be with me? I don't know. You know, like, she's probably just playing with me or whatever. Like, all of his insecurities came rushing in.
Yeah.
And so he was like, let me just see what happens. You know, I'm either going to hit her up and she's going to dub me. And that's going to be that. I was just some fun, you know, white boy for her to play around with and, you know, spend money and stuff. Or, you know, maybe she'll answer the phone. And so anyway, so he hit her up. She answered the phone and said that she had a great time too, and that she was going to be in New York. And so, you know, could they do it again, rendezvous again? So they did, and they had a great time in New York. You know, he was able to show her around, show her a good time. Of course, all of his friends, everybody's like jaw dropping, like, how did you get this, model chick, to come with, meet you in New York.
Does she want to play Dungeons and Dragons?
Right, exactly.
Does she want to be the gatekeeper?
The gatekeeper, right? And so anyway, after just those 2 times of them like hanging out for 2 days each, they decided they wanted to make it a regular thing where he comes out to Florida one weekend and then she comes to New York the next, so he went back to Florida and they decided to make it official, just after that short period of time, spending time together, they decided to make it official, to start dating officially, like being in a committed investigative relationship. So I always tell people, when you get together that quickly, you still don't know anything about the person, so you're investigating them.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now they've been investigating each other
playing detective
since July, I want to say, and it's still going great, and he just, like I said, just recently told me, like, I'm still hanging out with LaFonda, we're still doing the weekends. I think there was maybe one weekend where she had a work thing and she couldn't make it. So he surprised her and went back out there a second weekend in a row. And she was just like, all over him for that. Like, he didn't have to do that. Obviously very sweet, very nerdy, of course. But, so for them, it's working out. I am still concerned, because there were a few red flags that I kind of felt like, you guys are having fun still. It is genuinely fun. And I think that's great. But he wants marriage, kids, and the whole nine. Whereas I think he is an experience for her, and she's willing to go the full throttle with it. But it's still an experience. I don't know that based off of her Instagram and all of her chocolate friends and family members, that she's looking at, marriage and kids with this person. Like, I don't see any inkling of what world he's from or the world that they're sharing together. It hasn't gotten to that point, even though they're technically dating and they have been for a couple of months. They don't post each other on social media. It was her choice to not, which was the red flag that I'm talking about. I was just kind of like, I mean,
that's
sure.
Some
people are like, let me wait, whatever amount of time before, because just in case, but I'm not really digging that. If we're spending this much time, money, energy with each other, we're intimate now, we're in a full-fledged relationship, and you're telling me you want to wait, for like 6 months to a year before you post me.
But she gave a timeline. She gave like a
she gave
6 months to a year.
She gave a timeline. Yeah, she gave the whole. Like,
I will say this though. Like, I've been in a situation where I've dated somebody who didn't want kids, and then during the dating decided that she wanted to have kids. You know what I mean? Right. Like, we can on both sides, we can change each other's minds, because you're like, wow, like, this guy is so cool, this girl's so cool, like, I never thought I would be with this person and or even think this way, because they're making me think in a different way. Like, I really think we could have a established relationship and go further, you know what I mean? So who knows? She's saying that now because this is brand new. She probably never dated a skinny white boy or whatever. But when she gets familiar, not only familiar, but I guess comfortable, I'm pretty sure either two things, like, either she has to stop or she's gonna be all in. You know what I mean? And posting all crazy, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't. That is a red flag. But I would still, like, give it some time. Give her some time too, because it's different. It's different for her.
Right.
She's used to black, this and black people, and now you're stepping into each other's worlds with totally polar opposites.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you got to kind of refragment your brain.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of the stuff that she posts is very political, in nature. And, he's asked me a couple times about some things that he didn't really know about. He doesn't stay on top of the latest story of the most recent melanated person shot and killed by the police. What I mean?
He should be talking to her about that, so they can have that conversation with each other. And hopefully she's educated and she could school him instead of he shouldn't be asking you that.
Well, no, it wasn't so much of him asking me. It was about him telling me.
Oh, he's just telling you. Okay.
A conversation about something that she posted.
Yeah.
And he was unaware of the story.
right.
Of this particular person. And it was main news. I mean, it was a huge story. So the fact that he didn't know about it, bothered her, and she let him know that, and he wasn't sure how to respond to that because
it's not his world.
In his world, exactly. That's not a familiar thing. And so anyway, so now he has taken this approach of like, well, in order to continue to appease her, I now have to become, an activist. I got to stay on top of everything. I got to know these things in order to make my girl feel comfortable and to feel like I am attempting at, understanding her from a cultural perspective as much as I can.
Yeah.
And being woke, the whole idea of woke, like he didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
The poor dear. So, culturally, there's going to be some room for growth. And like you said, if she's willing, however, she has already said to him in a text message, like, it's not my job to teach you Black history. Which is true, to a certain extent, it's true. You don't want to get in a relationship with someone and feel like you're now, their history teacher. However, when you choose to engage in a relationship with somebody who does not come from a similar cultural background or experience as you, which doesn't necessarily have anything to do with skin color, you know what I mean? Like I've met plenty of melanated people who come from a very different world, than the one that I was raised in. So it can happen in relationships with people who are from, similar or who have similar skin tones, but that has nothing to do with it. But in this situation, I did share with him that, there's going to be a level of awareness that you both have to have. Like she's going to have to also be patient with you.
Yes.
And understand that that's not, a part of your world. And so it's new and that you're choosing, because of your care and love for her, because they're already in the love stage.
Yeah.
That you're willing to open your mind and expand your horizon in that way. But she, is going to need to be patient with you, because otherwise, if it's forced, it can come off disingenuine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he'll just look crazy wearing Black Lives Matter, hats and
with a black fist on.
What I mean, with his fist up. Yeah. And then he'll to other people, he will clearly look like he's faking it.
Yeah. When I date non-Black people, I love being the Black spokesperson because I think I'm well educated enough to play that role. Mm-hmm. I just hate when the other Black men don't do that. Like, break it down to where, why we say the N-word. Like, there's a lot of, past pain there, break it down to her about our hair and our, the way, our traditions and stuff like that. Like,
right.
And how we're all not a monolith and, there's Black Republicans and, Black people, anti-vaxxers. Like I like playing that role because I'm opening up another person's mind about how we're not all the I break the stereotypes.
Right.
Easy. You know what I mean? And then like educating at the same time.
Right.
But so I enjoy that role, So, and I think, when you do date somebody of a different culture, you should have some kind of pride. I mean, I'm proud to be, of mixed heritage, but I am aware of both sides, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I school them as much as I know to them, and I want to know about them. If I date a white girl, I hate when I date somebody Caucasian and they don't know their background. Like, oh, I'm white. Oh, you're just white. Like, no, you're not. Like, you're Scandinavian, you're Greek, you're, what are you? You know what I mean? Like, I don't like women who just say I'm white, you know what I'm saying? But I'm here to learn,
Right.
It'd be cool to learn from the person who you're getting head from.
Yeah. I mean, that's your prerogative. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you are open and willing to do that benefits the person who's dating you, because then they're going to get that voluntary, time with you where you're willing to share and educate them and you actually enjoy it. So it can be something special for you in your relationship, and they're definitely going to benefit from it, even if you guys don't work out and they move on. Now they have this free education that hopefully that they will utilize to their benefit when they are dealing with brothers, what I mean, that they can now have some type of frame of reference. Not that everybody is going to be you, because obviously everybody's different, but still some frame of reference in terms of culture and traditions and things like that might just be obvious, to us, but to someone else, maybe not so much, And personal question for you: have you ever dated a Mandarin woman?
A Mandarin woman?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Wow.
Isn't that ironic? Is that ironic or not?
Tell me more.
I just haven't. I've dated Filipino.
Okay.
I think I've only dated Filipino on the Asian descent. Like, it's only been Filipino.
Wow.
Not by design. I don't care. I'm an equal opportunist. But it never came down to it. And then the Filipinos I've dated are, not aggressive, but once you get in there, they become aggressive. So they'll pursue you. But it's mostly been Black and Latina.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you've never found yourself leaning in that direction, or like seeking it out, or being interested or intrigued to the point where your focus becomes that, where you're, making a connection with the Mandarin woman?
No, because I just, whatever's fine, fine, fit, and funny, I'm attracted to. It doesn't matter. I'm not attracted to a specific demographic. You know what I mean?
Right.
Cultural demographic. I just like whoever is fine, fit, and funny. It'd be cool. I'm sure my mom would be happy if I found,
Absolutely.
I think she's vocalized that a few times, but it's not me. I mean, I will say this though, they're more predominantly shy, right? So I'm probably, I don't know. It's hard to I don't say navigate or observe if they are interested or not. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of women at work who are Asian. I don't know if they like me or not. They're nice, but I don't know if they like me or don't like me, or won't pursue me because we work in the same area. You know what I mean?
Right.
Women don't want to do that either, but I don't care. I don't care. But I don't want to take it to that next level and waste my time if they're not interested. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they're not going to tell you because they're always shy.
Aww.
Chinese girls, Asian women are mostly predominantly shy, except for Filipinos. Filipinos, for some reason, most of them don't give a shit if they like you. They'll find some way to let you know. You know what I'm saying? And then Asian women, young women, whatever, they're just too shy. It's kind of annoying.
I mean, they do marry and have children though, so something's going on, something's happening.
Yeah, because the guy is making the first move. The guy's taking on the masculine, blah, blah, blah. But for me, it's like, the ones I'm around, I see him, I don't want to make many moves because we're in a workplace.
Right.
I guess outside of the workplace, I guess, I don't know. It's hard because to me, Asian women either want white dudes or their own race. And I don't have the time. I wish everybody was like Sims and had like a bubble and said, "Oh, I'm an equal opportunist. I'm an equal opportunist."
Right.
Like I have to guess. I don't want to guess. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so, and I know women hate it, but I wish they would make the first move, at least make some kind of inkling. Like, all I need is like a sign, and then I'll take it from there. Like if you can give me like a sign, I'll run with the ball. You know what I mean? But they don't do that. They're too shy to do that. You know what I mean? They think like if they look at you and turn away, that means you should know that they like you. Like, no, bitch, I don't know. That means to me that I'm hideous, and you're like, yeah, this nigga's hideous, and turn around. you know what I'm saying? Like they'll do stupid shit. Like women do dumb shit like that. Like, how come I'm at a bookstore and this guy's standing right here, and I took this book like this. How come he doesn't know I like him?
Right.
What? You just took a magazine. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
They do like little signs like that don't mean anything, but except to them.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's gonna read that.
Excuse me. To me, as a life coach,
break it down,
who specializes in relationships.
Yes.
There are, we call them subtle hints.
Yes.
Subtle hints, but you sound so impatient.
What? I do? Oh.
I don't want you to be
no.
impatient. It's okay for people to give you subtle hints. Sometimes that is truly like the art of engagement. You know what I mean? Is to be able to, like, I'll give you an example of the last subtle hint that a guy gave to me, right?
Okay.
I'm in a restaurant. It's a Chinese vegan restaurant, so all Chinese food but veganized.
That's nice.
Love it so much.
I think you showed me some pictures of that.
Yes, yeah. So good. And so I'm sitting at a table by myself. It's like a work lunch thing, waiting for my girlfriends to get there. I get there first. I've already ordered food. So I'm sitting there and I'm eating already because I'm pregnant.
Yeah. I can't wait for you bitches. You know, I got to eat. All right. this one is yanking on my shit. I got to eat.
Exactly. Like, oh, I'm 20 minutes late. Okay. And I'll be here with a plate of food.
Right.
So I'm already eating. And I think he assumed that I was eating alone. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, so I ordered, something to drink, and they didn't have it. They didn't have what I wanted. I wanted this peach tea that they usually have, which is so good, and they didn't have it. So, he was just picking up food. He wasn't even dining in. He was waiting. He had ordered on the phone, so he was waiting for them. His order wasn't ready yet. He was early, so he went next door.
Mm-hmm.
To the restaurant next door, which is similar but just not vegan. Also Chinese, but it's like fusion food, so you could get hot wings and stuff like that too. He goes and orders their peach tea.
Yeah.
Are you following?
Yes.
He orders 2.
Uh-huh.
And after he gets his food, he comes over to my table and he said something like order up or something like that. And he put the peach tea down. Yeah. No Asian girl is ever going to do that to me. And I thought that was like the most like Criminal Minds thing somebody could do in a moment like that. What's in this tea, right? What did you put in here? Like I'm all over it, right? I'm BAU now. And I thought that was so bizarre. Yeah. How bizarre. That he did that, but I just, I was like, well, whatever. I wasn't going to drink that tea. As I'm eating, my girls get there, we're talking, I'm telling them the whole like tea story or whatever. And they're like, yeah, that's so weird that he did that, blah, blah, blah. And then it dawns on us, like, as we're looking at the tea, it still has like the paper receipt attached to it. And now it's a little bit wet and like stuck to the drink. Yeah. He wrote his phone number on the receipt, and it said, call me. It said, drink the tea or not, but call me. Yeah. No Asian girl is ever going to do that. And I just thought, no, I'm not saying that they would, but I'm just saying, like, to me, that was subtle. That's not subtle to me. For me. That's a great shoot your shot. That's like definite, like, shoot your shot. Like he never even spoke 9 words. You know what I mean? Right. I got order up. That's 2 words. Got you. But the fact that he not only gave you what you wanted, he put his number on the receipt, that to me is not subtle. Subtle to me is like when a girl, like I'm in a bookstore and a girl is standing right next to me, gets a book near me, and then stays there and reads it. I move, she kind of fall, you know what I mean? Like that is subtle because she's not saying nothing. She thinks I'm supposed to pick up on her vibes or something and maybe mention the book she picked or something. Like I'm in my own book. Like I'm not watching you. Subtle though, because she could just be reaching for a damn book. Exactly. Yes. Like, subtle to me means like we don't know. Well, so let's clarify then, because subtle to me still means that that this is somebody trying to get your attention. Yeah, subtle is like small, right? Yeah, it's like just small. Yeah, it's not like that's not small to me. That's big. You right? You know what I mean? So like that guy obviously shot a shot. Right. So why didn't he come over and say, "Hey"? Why didn't he, talk to me or have a conversation? I don't know. Because it's safer to be like, okay, if she doesn't call me, obviously she's taken. Obviously he didn't see the baby bump. Right. He's like, clearly. You know what I mean? Like, clearly. But still, to me, that was subtle because he did not verbalize his intentions, right? He used other means
Right.
To
I think it's smooth.
Literally
really
wrote it on a piece of paper, stuck to a cup of tea that I wasn't going to drink. But clearly he was, again, eavesdropping. Why are people always eavesdropping on me? Listening to my conversation. Maybe I'm loud.
Maybe you're loud.
Maybe that's what it is.
You don't know how loud you are.
Did you hear that from across the room? Girl, you're shouting. That's why.
Doesn't he get props though for ear hustling? Maybe not on purpose because you're loud. And he's like, oh, this beautiful boss bitch over here is talking. She wants peach. They don't have peach. I'm gonna go get this woman some peach.
Right. But my thing was like, if you're gonna do all that, boy, come sit down.
No,
you just did all that and left.
Because we don't know. Like, what if you had a boyfriend or a husband and they came and he's sitting down with you? Now he look like an idiot.
All he had to do was ask. Is the seat taken? Can I sit down with you? I would have been. And then you'll be. My husband's, coming or whatever. Like I would have communicated it.
Sure.
We're adults.
It's safe, right? I mean? It's safer and less humiliating to do it that way.
Right. That's what it was. He was trying to avoid the in-your-face rejection. Yeah.
And I've never done that.
He would just go away, and if I never called, fine. He didn't have to.
Hear no evil, see no evil. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I mean, I've never done that, but maybe I'm gonna try that one day.
No, because it's awkward as heck. I was annoyed.
Why? No, that's oh my god. This is so weird how men and women are so different. Yeah. I think that's cool as fuck. You're like, that's creepy as fuck.
Right.
That's so funny, dude. That's so funny. I'm thinking it's player. You're like, this is creepy.
Yes.
And the whole table thought the same thing.
Yes. All three of
Never mind. I'm not doing it. Never mind.
We all thought it was creepy, and we all felt like if he was going to do all that,
yes,
you might as well stick around and get your instant gratification, instant appreciation before you walk away. And he didn't even allow me a moment to say like thank you or to inquire what your name is. Nothing. But you
understand why he did it that way. The way I just told you, right? Okay, yes, so these are the conversations we as men need to know what not to do. Like, if we're gonna shoot our shot, let's shoot the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Empty the clip right now. Don't wait to see if the body is warm or not. Shoot the whole dang clip and then see. Right? If you're gonna shoot the shot, right?
Right.
So he should have. So what you're saying is, he should have got the peach.
Right.
Right, because he has to get the peach. That's the end, right? Yes. Get the peach because that's his being nice and a gentleman.
You're in, right?
He's in. Put the peach down. Can I sit here? That's when you say, no, my husband, my boyfriend, or yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead. Sit, have a seat. I'm just waiting for my girlfriends. They're 20 minutes later. Okay, cool. He sits down. Blah blah blah. So then he kind of not feed you lines, but like interrogation comes and are you married? You got a boyfriend? Blah blah blah. And you say yes or no, and this isn't the food baby, this is the baby, and blah blah blah.
Right.
Decide if you want to stay. You know what I mean? How you want to play it.
Right.
But thank you for this peach. I love this. Thank you very much.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean
that makes sense to me too.
Right. To me, it makes sense for the simple fact that you just went invested $5.49,
which is nothing to him.
But in the grander scheme of things, you invested. Yeah. You literally invested in this interaction by going and purchasing this drink in order to have a reason to now have a conversation with me that you did not see a way to do otherwise. Because he didn't have to go get the dang on tea.
No.
He could just come over to the table holding his bag because he's on his way out the door and just said, peace queen, whatever. Yeah. Like I saw you from across the room, I would have been fine with that. Husband or not, I still would have appreciated the compliment, blah, blah. And if he wanted to sit down and talk a little bit, we could have done that. Maybe he could have saved the whole tea conversation for, us being able to get together and go grab some tea. You know what I mean? Now that he has another reason to see me again. I mean, there's just so many ways you can go about it, but I think being genuine is most important. And even if you are afraid of rejection and stuff like that, to me, it's kind of childish. It's like the boy that comes and kicks the girl in her rain boots and then runs away.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the other thing, though. Like,
mind you, since nobody can see us, he was just pointing at himself.
I was pointing to myself. Yeah, I kicked the girl's in the rain boots, and then I run away. I shoved the girl in the boys' bathroom and then run away. I did it.
Oh.
I smacked the girl in the no, I'm just kidding.
Right.
But here's the thing, though. I don't know if you know about dudes. Guys like to do things for women, whether you know they get anything out of it or not. Like you know, as far as like sex or a date or whatever, they just sometimes we just like to do nice things. So him doing that is a nothing, is a big nothing. You know what I mean? Either you call or you don't, cool. But I gave you the peach. It made me feel good as a man because I gave a stranger something. It's equivalent to like feeding a homeless person.
Absolutely.
And not letting him know where the food came from. Yeah, good Samaritan. Yeah. I mean, and then on the flip side, you know, that's why there's so many sugar daddies, because sugar daddies love to give women things without even any sex or anything. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's just they're doing a good deed. They got it, so they'll give it to them. They, you know, as far as they got money. So you know what I'm saying? They don't mind spending money on somebody who just looks good. Because to them, it feels good to them. It's self gratification. You know
Absolutely, so it's a mental thing.
So sometimes it's like that. Yeah.
They know that you're on their mind. They know you're thinking about it, talking about it. It's a thing. You know what I mean? So it's going to occupy some energy, whether you're giving it directly while they're standing there, or they're going to feel that energy ripple effect later. Energy is real, vibration, frequency, it's all real. So they know that they're creating something, right? They put a ripple in your pond, and it's going to do its thing for as long as it's going to do its thing until it stops and everything goes back to normal. But while it's doing its thing, while this ripple effect is happening, they know that, you know, they're on your mind, and that it can be just fulfilling all by itself, that I did this for this woman today, and I don't know what's going to happen. Or maybe that was the first time he ever did something like that. Maybe it felt crazy to him, and it was him pushing himself to like step outside of his box. Again, he doesn't know I'm a relationship coach, so I'm giving him brownie points, you know what I mean, in certain areas. But where he messed up was leaving.
But sometimes too, like, it's more like a strip club. It's like, I know I'm not going to get no pussy from this chick. I know she's only dancing on me or whatever because I paid for it. But I know that, you know, she's dancing in front of me, but she's also dancing in front of like 20 other guys. But I'm making it rain. I'm throwing wads, you know, at her. Some of them are ones, some of them are hundreds, some of them are 20s. Like, I know I'm not going to go home with this girl, but I know that she can use this money, and she's entertaining me, and she got nice, you know, titties and ass and a pretty face. I'm going to throw up some money, and then I'm going to go home.
Right.
I mean, that's how it is too. You know what I mean? It's like nothing. It's nothing. I'm gonna buy this beautiful brown sister a peach because she wants a peach tea. Yes. I'm gonna drop it, and then just in case, call me. Just in case.
Yeah.
If you want to. But if you don't, I'm gonna go home, get into my in my Tesla, go home, do my thing, play Xbox, go, you know, maybe masturbate and go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, then cycle continues. It's not a big thing. I don't think he's wondering if you're going to call him or not. You know what I mean? Because he probably has done this more than once.
Absolutely. That was my thing I was going to say. It was either his first time or he does this all the time.
Right.
And asked me if I called him or not.
Did you call him?
I did. Relationship coach, so everything is a social experiment.
We go there. Okay, so what happened real quick?
So I called.
Yes.
And he basically said what you said. He wasn't like, I was going to call or not, you know, no pressure. Yeah. Did I drink the tea?
That's a gentleman.
I actually took the tea back and told him there was something wrong with it so I could get a fresh one just in case he spiked it. So I did enjoy my tea. I did. It just wasn't the one he physically brought me, which he thought was hilarious. And then we found out that we knew some people in common in the vegan world. And that he dated somebody that I knew, and that was the end of it, because I don't date people who I, you know somebody.
Yeah.
But there was definitely potential there. You know, had that not been the case, now we're on the phone, now we're laughing. I told him the peach tea story, you know, how I took it back and everything, and how I'm, you know, obsessed with Criminal Minds. And so I mean, there definitely was something there. I didn't want it to feel like workish when I say that, whenever I'm like putting people in social experiment mode instead of just letting it happen organically. So I didn't inquire a bunch or ask him like, why did you do that like that? You know, I just kind of let it be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I saw that he was trying to follow me on Instagram, and I just decided like, You know, like I just want to leave it where it was. Like, it was such a great gesture. I wanted to thank him and make sure that he knew that I enjoyed it, that me and my girls, you know, cracked up about it at the table, that I returned the tea and all that. I just wanted him to have the rest of the story.
Yeah.
But once we, like I said, figured out that we knew too many people in common and that he had already gone down the vegan rabbit hole, you know, with somebody else vegan that I know, it was just kind of like understood. They're like, oh, okay, you know, it's all good. But yeah, I wanted to know, you know, I was like super curious. And he, like I said, he sounded like he was a nice person. You know, he definitely had all the basic vegan guy stuff going on. You know, he even had some animals, some puppies in the background. So he would have been a great, you know, potential, I guess you could say, because it worked. I called, you know what I mean? So it was not all for naught. But you know, the universe was just not conspiring for us.
So this method, do you suggest this method?
I don't. I told him that
even though it worked.
It worked on a relationship coach
who was curious,
who is mad curious.
But he was a potential until you found out about the mutual friend. Yes. So if there was a mutual friend, it would have worked.
It would have worked to the extent that I allowed it. Like I said, so sometimes being a relationship coach, I allowed that to work in his favor because I was looking for ways to give him brownie points. I'm looking for ways to give him credit because I know how much it takes to even get to that point. I don't think the average woman would be giving him that much credit. I don't think she would have seen it as like, wow, it must have, you know, taken you so much to decide right before you left after they gave you your food. You only had a few minutes to decide, you know what I mean? Like, and then you concocted this whole thing. Like, that was so clever. Like, I don't think somebody else would have given him that much credit. I think they would have just been disappointed. Yeah. And it would have been way too freaking awkward that he just walked out of the restaurant like that.
I think sometimes we do stupid shit.
Right.
But sometimes the stupid shit
accidentally works. Right.
I was going to say, we need this conversation as men and women. We need to have this conversation and say like, oh, guys, don't do this. But sometimes when we do stuff that we're not even thinking about, because we don't know how you guys are thinking or what you're thinking. Sometimes our dumb moves work. Yeah. So continue to do dumb moves, just not disrespectful, just dumb.
Right.
Dumb's okay. Yes. Because I'll say this though, somebody who is not a life coach might still take that receipt and just be curious as a human being. Yes, I wonder, like, and then be curious and then make the call. Like, yo, thanks for the peach, blah, blah. Do the same thing you just did without the life coach trait in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Just out of pure curiosity. And then they would have not have mutual friends or whatever.
Right.
And it would have made a hit. And now they could tell their children the crazy, dumb thing that their father did to get their mom's attention. And it's a great story. Dad, you're stupid.
Right.
I would have never done that, Dad. That was a dumb move. and the mom goes, yeah, it was dumb.
Right.
But it worked.
It worked.
So we're stupid, but let us be stupid. Give us the stupid, because that's all we. Yes, stupid and innocent, because that's all we got. We don't know. We know nothing about you guys. Right. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? Until we get you. Until then, we don't know what we're doing. We're doing everything we think is okay. Mm-hmm. As long as it's innocent and stupid, and you know what I'm saying, we don't know, then you please don't hate us.
Yeah.
Let it go. Laugh. You can laugh about it with your girlfriends. You can tease us, do all that. Just don't think we're doing, you know, out of like no malice or playerism or anything like that, because we just don't know. We don't know. We're stupid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, good point. Yeah. I mean, he was cute and everything.
See, you had your.
However,
you had your little code.
It was on my list. You know, list.
Bring it back around.
Gotta bring it back around. It was on the list. So close.
It's on my list. Yeah. All right, well, we'll close it there. Harmony, is always great to talk to you, man. This was so much fun. And we'll end it there. Congratulations on the bubba.
Thank you.
I saw the pictures. He looks like a gangster. It's gonna be nice.
Oh gosh.
I mean that in a good way. It's gonna be
right.
It's gonna be a good story. Hopefully, I'll be around to rear him around a little bit.
Right.
in the right way.
Uncle Lee, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so we'll end it there. Harmony, thank you again. 2 fingers.
2 fingers.